Alakshita Matajis Evam Viprakrite Loke Daitya Indrahai Chanumuhu Devam Deva Parityajaha Bhuvi Cheru Alakshita Daitya Evam Viprakrite Loke Daitya Indra Chunubham Divyam Deva Parityajaha Vipirum Alakshitaha Evam Viprakrite Loke Daitya Indra Charanuru Divyam Devya Parityajaha Bhuvi Cheru Alakshitaha Evam Viprakrite Lokaha Daitya Indraye Nuchare Muhu Divyam Deva Parityajaha Bhuvi Cherur Alakshita Evam thus Viprakrite being disturbed Loke when all the people Daitya Indra Anuchari by the followers of Hiranyakashipu, the king of the Daityas. Muhu, again and again. Divyam, the heavenly planets. Deva, the demigods. Pratyajaha, giving up. Bhuvi, on the planet Earth. Cheru, wondered to the extent of the disturbance, to see the extent of the disturbance. Alakshita, unseen by the demons. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, thus disturbed again and again by the unnatural occurrence caused by the followers of Hiranyakashipu, all the people had to cease the activities of Vedic culture. Not receiving the results of yajna, the demigods also became disturbed. They left their residential quarters in the heavenly planets and unobserved by the demons, began wandering on the planet Earth to see the disaster. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the performance of yajna brings reciprocal good fortune for both the human beings and the demigods. When the performance of yajna were stopped by the disturbance of the demons, the demigods were naturally bereft of the result of yajna and hampered in executing their respective duties. Therefore, they came down to the planet Earth to see how people had become disturbed and to consider what to do. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutala Simite Tamal Krishna Goswamiti Namne Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Simite Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharinir Vishesha Shanavadi Paschate Destarani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we are discussing about Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons. You've already read how he was born at an inauspicious time. His mother, what is his mother's name? Diti. Right? And they are originally devotees of the Lord. They are Jaya and Vijay from the Vaikuntha planet. But Krishna wanted to actually perform some chivalrous activities. He wanted to actually have a fighting, and there was nobody, he can't do it in the spiritual world. He can't do that in Vaikuntha because everybody knows he's God. So he has to come to this material world and fight with someone who is devotees, because anybody whom he has to come and fight has to be really strong. So these are two of the strongest people. Hiranyakashipu was so strong that I read somewhere there's only 3 people who are more stronger than him on this planet. Who were they? Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma and Hiranyakashipu did a lot of tapasya. And whom did he try to please? Lord Brahma. So Brahma is one of the demigods. And what happened to him in the end? He got killed. So all these pastimes that are spoken in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and other literatures is for our benefit to understand what we should do. We should use our intelligence. So worshipping demigods and the amount of tapasya that Hiranyakashipu did was, people said nobody has done that kind of tapasya. I don't know how long he did the tapasya for, but he got covered by an anthill and everything was eaten from his body. There was no flesh, no bones, nothing. So the only bones was left and his soul was just moving in the area of his heart. Now after all this tapasya, and then he gets killed. But that's what demons do, because demons are envious of Krishna. They don't want to worship him, they want to become God. Now we might be thinking, oh, Hiranyakashipu was such a bad demon. But, don't take me wrongly, we got a little bit of Hiranyakashipu in us. As soon as you say, I, my and mine, these are the 3 things that the demons say. Everything belongs to me. I am the master, I am the controller. So we have to understand this and we have to try to become someone different from Hiranyakashipu. We have to become somebody like Prahlad Maharaj. We have to become somebody like Hanuman. What is the difference between Ramana and Hanuman? Ramana wanted to enjoy Sita Devi, right? So he wanted, what does Sita Devi in energy of the Lord? Means all the opulence. So he wanted to be the master, he wanted to be the enjoyer. And that's what he wanted. That's the difference between Ravana. And what did Hanuman want to do? He wanted Ram and Sita to be together. Lakshmi and Narayan to be together. So we have to become like that. Everything in this world, whatever is there, is energy of Krishna. And we can use everything in Krishna's service. That is the difference. So if we can use everything in Krishna's service, if you know how to use everything in Krishna's service, then you don't have to worry about it. You can live here or you can live anywhere in the material world. That's why somebody like Srila Prabhupada, he used everything in Krishna's service. He saw Krishna everywhere. That is the difference between a demon and a devotee. Devotee sees Krishna everywhere. And the reason why we read all this, so that we know that our senses are basically made of the physical body. Those 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether and everything. But the subtle body, what is it made of? Mind, intelligence and the false ego. So how do you purify this? To purify the mind, what do you have to do? Chant the Maha Mantra. Mantra. Man means mind, Tra means to purify. And in the scriptures, especially in this age of Kali Yuga, the best way to purify the mantra is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It says, Iso das nam Kali Kalamanas nam. That Hare Krishna man, the 16 order, das and che is 16. Iso das nam Kali Kalanas nam, na parupay. There is no higher way of actually doing it. Sarv Vedeshu Drisya. You go and look into all the Vedas. So of all of these, the highest or the best way is to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And that's what we have to. This is how we purify the mind. Not only this mantra, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has done, what Nityananda Prabhu has done, what our whole Parampara has done, is they have invested all their potency in this. Now in one day of Brahma, Krishna, Golok Vrindavan Krishna, comes here. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes soon after that. In all the other 999, in Kali Yuga, who comes then? Kalki comes in every one of them, including this one. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in one of the 1000. Soon after Krishna comes. Who comes in all the other ones? Gaur Narayan. Have you heard of Gaur Narayan? So Narayan comes from Vaikuntha Lok. But in one of those, in the Chaturyuga, when Krishna appears, 500 years or how many years? 5,000 years, basically later, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to teach how we can go back to Golok Vrindavan. So in all the other time, when Gaur Narayan comes, he teaches everybody how to go to Vaikuntha Lok. Samajh gaya na? So if you want to go to Golok Vrindavan, this is the time. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invests all the potency in this so that we can go back to Golok Vrindavan, the topmost planet. In Vaikuntha Dham, what is the difference? In Vaikuntha Dham, we know Narayan is God. So there is awe and reverence. It's just like when you're walking in the office, there is a boss there. There is a respect there. But when you have a relationship with him, when you go and meet this person at home, then there's a different kind of relationship. So if you really look at it, going to Vaikuntha is like going to an office where there is a lot of respect and awe and reverence there. But when you go and be with Krishna in Golok Vrindavan, then you are at home. There is a lot of difference in there. And the difference is that in everybody in Vaikuntha Lok, they are worshipping Krishna, they are worshipping Narayan, they are running after Narayan. But in Golok Vrindavan, it is different. Krishna is running after his devotees. Isn't that right? Krishna is trying to save all the devotees. He's carrying the shoes of his father, Nanda Maharaj, on his head. So this is a very special place. And we can only get that opportunity more or less once in one day of Brahma, which means 1,000 times this 4 kalpas goes, and only here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears only once. So we, rather than becoming the demon, we have to understand the quality of the demon so that we try to avoid that. So as I was saying that to purify the mind, we have to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we have to chant the mantra. Now how do we purify the intelligence? Reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, reading about Krishna, reading about the pastimes. So this is important because by reading you get intelligence. So our material intelligence gets destroyed and we get spiritual intelligence. As long as we have this material intelligence, it's going to keep on asking us, it's going to keep us keep convincing the mind to go and enjoy. You have to understand that the mind, the intelligence has to control the mind. Understand that? So if you look at the senses, they're like the 5 horses. The intelligence is the rope, no? The driver. The mind is the rope, am I right? So you have to control the rope. The driver has to control the rope. If he doesn't, if he lets the rope loose, then what happens? All the horses goes in every different way. Now, there are 8.4 million different types of bodies. And each of these different bodies, in most of these bodies, only one sense is very prominent, is very powerful. For example, you've seen the moths, right? When there's a light, some musical instrument, and the deers started coming from the forest. And actually she got scared because she didn't realize the deers were there. She just got kind of frightened. So, and similarly the snakes, by chanting, by hearing the sound, by hearing the music, the most venomous snakes can be controlled. Similarly, the elephant, which is so big, the desire to enjoy sex is so, and what people do is to catch them. When they make big holes in there, and they put a female elephant on the other side, and he doesn't see that there's a big hole in there, he just goes into this. But in human being, all our senses are powerful, and it's very hard to control them. So the way to control them is, we can't control them. What we have to do is re-engage them. So rather than using the senses for sense gratification, you have to use this in Krishna's service. They say that Amrish Maharaj, he was such a powerful king. He was the king of the whole planet. But he was so perfect that he was using every part, all his senses in Krishna's service. So we have this Nauda Bhakti, 9 processes. If you can use any one of those in Krishna's service, it becomes very easy. But it is said that to purify the intelligence, we have to read, we have to listen, so that our intelligence can be purified. Then when we chant, then it becomes more effective. Because I have heard this, even Mayavadis, just to attract people, when they don't believe in Krishna as being God, they chant, they do arti, they do things just like us to attract people. So if you don't have the intelligence, you can do a lot of things that looks like devotional service, but is actually not devotional service. To understand what devotional service is, first thing you have to understand your position. What is your position? What is our position? We are the servant of God. We are servant of Krishna. And then we have to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we have to serve them. But if you think, I am God, then it becomes demonic. This is the quality of the demonic. They do not believe that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's very important that we listen to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. We should read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam at least every day. And what I found is that if you do a little bit of reading, just like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and really contemplate on what is being read, try to understand it, just before chanting, your chanting becomes very powerful. Because what happens is that otherwise the mind is running all over the place. So for 5 minutes by reading, and then you actually think, what is Prabhupada trying to say, or what is Krishna trying to say, just for 5 minutes, then the mind gets control. And then your chanting becomes much, much more powerful. Otherwise the mind is, as Arjun said, it's easier to control the raging wind than to control the mind. And the third thing, the ego. How do you control that? How do you purify that? So mind is chanting the Maha Mantra. Intelligence is reading and listening to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and scriptures about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. What about ego? How do you control that? How do you purify that?
I don't know. Could it be an association with devotees?
Association of devotees? Saving the devotees. Saving the devotees. save to, saving the devotees. So if you are associating, you get an opportunity, but you should go out of your way to actually save the devotees. What happens is that, what does ego means? What is our false ego? What is true ego? That we are servant of Krishna. What is false ego? I am the God. So when you save somebody, then you give them a higher position. There's a reciprocation there. So slowly we try to actually, that ego, that false ego that I am the God disappears. So these are the three ways to purify the mind is chant Hare Krishna, read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam to purify our intelligence, and saving the devotees, saving the Vaishnavas is to purify. So who is the Vaishnava? So you might say, okay, just like people who are walking outside. You don't get to associate with devotees all the time. So you have to come to the temple. When you are here, do simple service. They're serving prasadam. Once in a while, go and do that. Ask somebody how you are. Feed the brahmachari some nice prasadam. Saving, that's a very easy way. You make something nice, bring them something. And if they make something nice, please invite me. There's different ways of saving. When some devotees come, senior devotees come, you save them. So by doing all these things, you get purified. And this is how you can make spiritual advancement. Because it doesn't matter how hard we try, we cannot actually get bhakti on our own. We cannot do devotional service on our own. The only way we can do it is by the mercy of pure devotees. Because Krishna does not give devotion. Very seldom. How many times have you heard of, in the scriptures that Krishna has directly given mercy to somebody else? Any comes to mind? You'll see that just before that, a devotee, just like in Dhruva Maharaj's case, Narad Muni went and bestows his mercy on Dhruva Maharaj. And then Krishna had no choice, he had to come. Migrari the hunter, such a sinful person, again Narad Muni. So you need the mercy of a devotee. This is most important. When you have mercy of the devotees, then everything else is taken care of. Krishna takes care of the rest. Krishna has no choice. Krishna has given bhakti to his devotees. And he said, you can give it to anybody. And if the devotee, desires to give bhakti to somebody, the issue then becomes is whether the other person wants it or not. But sometimes devotees become very merciful, They give it to people who are not worthy. But if you are that powerful, like Srila Prabhupada, Look at Srila Prabhupada's life. When he was preaching in America, what kind of people he was preaching to? And then what was the result? They became such nice devotees. We can say that, they did something in their previous life, but a pure devotee has that power to actually do that. So we should actually take association of them. We should save them to the best of our ability. It's not very difficult to please the devotees. There is a lot of difference between Vaishnavas. Just look at Amrish Maharaj's case. Durvasa Muni, he felt insulted even there was nothing to be insulted about. He just had a sip of chanamrit to break his fast. So when you are actually fasting, if you are doing full fasting, if you take water, it's like breaking your fast as well as not breaking your fast. It's basically same thing. So just by taking a little bit of water, Dhruva Maharaj got so insulted. And what did he do? He took a hare, created the demon to kill him. So this is what yogis do. But a devotee, what did Amrish Maharaj do? When Dhruva Maharaj, Durvasa Muni, he went everywhere. He went to Brahma, he went to Lord Shiva. Even he went to Vishnu. He said, Vishnu, please save me from your chakra. Vishnu said, I can't save you. He said, this is your weapon. You are the supreme controller. He said, no, I'm not in control. I am under somebody's control. I am under the control of my devotees. If you want to be saved, then you have to go back to Amrish Maharaj. And when he went to Amrish Maharaj, this happened about the whole year came. And Amrish Maharaj said, he went and said, please save me. And Amrish Maharaj said, if I have done any devotional service, if I have respected by spiritual masters, I have done worship Krishna, I have any bit of devotion, then please save this Durvasa Muni. And then immediately he was saved. And then they had a meal together which they should have had 1 year ago. So just because of little bit of pride, in a way you can see that when Krishna, he saw that Amrish Maharaj was such a nice devotee, he wanted to glorify him. So Durvasa Muni went to actually do that. If this didn't happen, then we won't be talking about the Amrish Maharaj. So Krishna sometimes, he creates situations like this so his devotees can be glorified. So sometimes we shouldn't get too upset, oh, he was such a bad person. These people are special people. Krishna uses his special devotees to do special things both ways. So if you look at, he says, Hiranyakashipu was such a bad person. He was causing so much trouble. Yes, he was. But did those people deserve it? Nothing happens by chance, right? Now we suffer, we have problems in our life. Does it happen by chance? No, we deserve it. I was just thinking, we're talking about Hiranyakashipu. There are a lot of demons now. Probably not as powerful as Hiranyakashipu. There's one in Russia now, killing so many people. Isn't that right? Just for a little bit of pride, just because I want the land, I want to be control of a bigger piece of land. So many people are killed. So many people are put into disturbance. So we have got people like him. Hitler was another one. Churchill was another one. People talk about, he said, oh, Churchill was a very nice person. Because of him, 2-3 million people died in India. We don't talk about that. Isn't it right? He took all the food away from Bengal to England. But because they have the guns, they are powerful, we don't talk about them. So there are a lot of people who desire to do something like that, and Krishna uses them to punish other people. But always remember that nothing happens by chance. Whatever you go through in your life, it only happens because you deserve it. Now you look at the demons, they come here. They came to the planet and they destroyed everything. What did they destroy? When you have already read in the previous verses. Hiranyakashipu sent the demons to come and destroy what on the earthly planet? Brahmanika, basically, Ko Brahmana Hitacha, Brahmins, they disturbed everything that the Brahmins were doing, they killed them and the cows. They also killed the kids, children and everything. So those things that were to be protected, they actually disturbed that. They killed that. So the devatas, there was no yagnas being performed. So this is like a two-way thing. This is the thing about in the material world. I have to give you something to get something in return. And this is also with the demigods. Isn't that right? So if they don't do the yagnas, they don't get the power, then they can't save us. So, and if you don't give them, so this was a situation created by Hiranyakashipu. So they came to actually see what was happening here. so they can find a solution. And in the end, they went and prayed to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Nrsimhadev came and killed him. But this was a plan much more, plan made by Krishna much more before because he wanted to fight with the demon. And also to glorify his devotee blood. So in the end, you have to understand that Krishna, it's like Pandavas went through so many problems. You know, one of the reasons, one of the ways we understand or remember one of the greatest things that Draupadi did, what was that? Her prayers, right? The prayers actually that we have to surrender. As long as she was trying to hold on to her sari and try to protect herself, nothing happened. And when she gave up completely and said, Govinda, please protect me. So these are the lessons. And they were so dependent on Krishna. The other thing is that, how do we save devotees? How does Krishna eat? How does Krishna eat? When we chant the mantras, right? We put the food on the altar, we chant the mantras, so Krishna eats through his mantras. How else? He eats with his mouth, am I right? And he also eats through the mouth of the devotees. Now, when Draupadi was in difficulty, when the Pandavas were in difficulty, and Durvasa came with 10,000 of his disciples to take lunch there, and there was no food there. Again, they worship Krishna. Krishna, please protect me. And from one grain. So this is the thing, if you want to satisfy everybody, rather than trying to save all the demigods and everybody, if you just save Krishna, just by one grain, not only those 10,000, the whole universe, everybody was satisfied. So, rather than running after demigods, trying to please them individually, what we should do is worship Krishna and try to please him. And worshipping Krishna and trying to please him, what does that mean? Is Krishna alone? So you have to, that also means saving his devotees, pleasing his devotees. So this is the lesson we actually understand from this. If you save the demigods and they get upset, what do? Do they reciprocate? Yes? Good way, bad way? So a good example is when Krishna stopped the worship of Indra. And what did he do? What did Indra try to do? Just because they stopped, he wanted to destroy the whole of Vrindavan. So if you worship demigods, forget about demons. If you worship demigods, this is what's going to happen. So this is what the message is about Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. If you read all the other Vedas, other parts of the Vedas, about the Karam Kanda, it tells you to actually worship demigods. Because, for example, if you want a beautiful wife or a beautiful, handsome husband, what do? Whom do you worship? Lord Shiva and Parvati, just like the gopis did. But if you worship them to get Krishna, then it is all right. But if you worship them to get something material, then it is not right. So you can worship the demigods, but the mood has to be different. Isn't that right? Most of the time people worship Lord Shiva for what? Material opulence. Like one of the greatest worshipper of Lord Shiva is Ravana, right? Ravana was a great worshipper. And what did in the end happen? He got killed by Lord Ramchandra. So he cannot actually, the demigods cannot protect him. But Lord Shiva is one of the greatest devotee of Krishna. what is that thing? Vaishno? So he is the greatest. So if you worship Lord Shiva as a devotee, then it is all right. Now when you go to Vrindavan, which is the highest place of all the places, you see Shiva Ling everywhere. Isn't that right? So we can worship Lord Shiva, but they do not worship Lord Shiva for material gain. They worship Lord Shiva to attain Krishna. Yashoda Maya used to worship Lord Shiva. If you go to Gokul, near where Srila Prabhupada took bath, Brahmanda Ghat, there is a temple of Lord Shiva. How many of you had been there? It's called Chinta Mahadev. Chinta means worry. Isn't that right? Chinta. So, Yashoda Maya, she is always used to be worried about Krishna. All the demons are coming and everything. So she would come and worship Lord Shiva to get rid of all her worries. So they said that if you go and worship Krishna there, Lord Shiva there, then you also get rid of all your worries there. So if you do Braj Mandal Prakrima, you go to all these places where you can see all those things. It's a beautiful, Shiva Ling in there. It's not far from, it's probably a couple of 100 meters from where Mother Yashoda used to chant the Bada. That place. So where Krishna performed that pastimes about the Mother Lila. So just before that, it is there. So you can actually worship demigods, but you have to worship, understand that they are devotees of Krishna. Now, one of the devotees of Lord Shiva, when he gets very pleased, you might have heard of that pastime where when a devotee of Lord Shiva got pleased, Lord Shiva came in his dream and told him, okay, you go to Vrindavan at Manasi Ganga. There is a devotee of Krishna. His name is? Anyone else? Sanatana Goswami. He said, go to Sanatana Goswami and tell him, please give me the best thing you have, the most precious thing you have. So he went there. Sanatana Goswami was with a group of people. He waited when everybody left. Then he went to Sanatana Goswami. He said, I'm a worshipper of Lord Shiva. He sent me to you to give me the most precious things you have. So Sanatana Goswami, there's a pile of dirt on the side. He said, go there, there's a special stone, Chintamani. You take that. He said, if you take that and you touch it on the iron, and what does it turn into? Into gold. So he said, oh, no, I'm very happy. Because Lord Shiva's devotees, what are they looking for? Material opulence, right? So he gave him that. But he was an intelligent person. So he went there a little while, he walked out and he was really happy and he was thinking about it. And then he thought, if it is the most precious thing, why did he put it in the rubbish there? Why was it in the rubbish? So he looks like he is that I've been cheated. He did not give me the most valuable thing. Then he came back and explained, Then he said, if you really want the most precious thing, first thing you do is you throw that stone in the water. And then you come to me and then I'll give it to you. So he did that and came to Sanatana Goswami. And what did Sanatana Goswami give him? Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He said, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So even Lord Shiva, his most devotee whom he became really pleased with him, what did he want to give to him? He didn't want him to give the opulence of the whole planet. Because when Lord Shiva gets pleased, where does Lord Shiva reside? In the cemetery, right? Cemetery. And is there any opulence there? So he doesn't even value what we are asking him for. If he thought, a nice palace and everything was good, he would stay in that. But he doesn't value all of that. And that's what we are asking him. But just because we worship Lord Shiva, who becomes pleased? Parvati becomes pleased. And she provides all the material opulence to all the devotees. This is what happens, You look after the kids, the parent becomes happy. So, by saving the children, you can save the parents. You give something directly to, just like those little kids. Just, say something nice, put your hand on their head. The parents are so happy, my kids got blessed. You give them something directly, it might not have the same effect. So Krishna is same. By saving his devotee, he becomes more pleased by saving him directly. So, we'll stop here. Any comments, any questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Second canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam says that worshippers of Shiva become great heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not just that, that one was mentioned in the second canto, so, but you didn't mention that while you were talking about that. So,
yeah. Just like we're talking about Ravana, he was a great hero. He was so powerful. He even wanted to create his own planet, equal to the heavenly planet. So he was that powerful. He wanted to build a bridge where people have to just go up, you don't have to be qualified. You take the bridge and you can go to the heavenly planet. He was so powerful that he controlled basically the heavenly planet. So yes, they do become powerful, but they become powerful in this material world. Because Lord Shiva and Parvati are in charge of this material world. So they can give you that ability. But in the end, they don't survive, When they become extra powerful, they start misusing their power, they're trying to take the position of Krishna, then Krishna gets them killed. Okay? Yes, Prabhu.
So just to clarify, Lord Shiva and Parvati, is that her name?
Yeah.
They are the ones that bestow the material opulence
Yes.
to people. So Krishna, is he involved directly with any kind of material opulence, or is it all kind of bestowed through them and then through Krishna's sanction?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So Krishna knows. See, the demigods, I'll give you an example. There was a demon, I forgot his name, that he went and actually worshipped Lord Shiva and he pleased him. And then Lord Shiva said, give me a boon, right? So he said, okay. So what do you want? He said, if I put my hand on anybody's head, that person gets destroyed. What was his name? No, not Vitrasura. Okay, this particular person, if he puts his hand on anybody's head, he gets destroyed. I think it was Banasura. No, okay. There was a demon, a devotee of Lord Shiva. So what basically happened is, after he got this boon, you know what he tried to do? Tried to put his hand on Lord Shiva's head. So Lord Shiva could be killed. And what did he want? He wanted to enjoy with Parvati. So, you get the boon from the person and you try to kill the same person, so this is the difference. And then he started chasing Lord Shiva. So even Lord Shiva started running away because he knew as soon as he and then he had nowhere to go. So finally he went to Vishnu. He said, please Vishnu, help me, Then Vishnu said, you believe him? He told this demon, you really trust him that whatever he gives you will happen? He said, if you don't believe me, just put your hand on your head, So he put his hand over his head, and what happened? So Lord Vishnu says, this is the thing, when the demigods give something, it's not always what is best for you. But when Krishna gives a boon, it's always good for you. Because Krishna knows that. He's like, you take one step towards Krishna. Krishna takes 10 steps to you. Krishna doesn't want you to be here. This is jail. One of Parvati's name is Durga. What does Durga mean? Prison keeper. So if Durga is in charge of this material planet and sees the prison keeper, who are we? So Krishna wants you to take out of this prison and take you back home, back to Godhead. So whatever Krishna gonna give, whatever Vishnu gonna give, is always to take you out of here. So this is why they say, worshippers of Lord Shiva are very opulent. They got all the material opulence. And usually worshippers of Vishnu are very poor. Why? Because Krishna wants you to, you need two things to go back to Godhead. One is you have to have attachment for Krishna, if you want to go to a planet, right? The other one is you need to have detachment from this material world. So unless you suffer here of all those things, and then when you don't have anything, you don't have food, and whatever you are living, under a tree, you say, Krishna, please, I've had enough of this place, please take me, But when you have everything here, you don't want to go. That's why they say, when you go to the heavenly planet, it's very hard to worship Krishna there. Why? Because there's so much room for enjoyment, there's so much opulence there. When you go to the hellish planet, there's so much suffering there, there's no time to actually focus on Krishna. But on this earth planet, which is in the middle, you get both of those. You get the dose of both in this. So suffering is actually good. Because one of the greatest prayers of Kunti Devi was, what was it? Please give me all the more problems, more suffering. Because when I'm suffering, then I remember Krishna. When everything is good, you forget about Krishna. Isn't that right? So I always say, if you have people who are, causing problem in your life, probably they are the best thing in your life. Because these are the ones who realize, please Krishna, help me get out of here. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yes, bro.
You said that false ego goes away by serving the devotees. But sometimes I have observed that serving also, rather than reducing the false ego, it increases as well. That I'm serving so well and I've made so much things and so how we can understand that?
You keep serving, it'll go away. Keep serving the devotees. So in the beginning, because we have been here in this material world for millions and millions of lifetimes. So our sanskar is from all of those. And one of the things about material world is just we want to be the greatest, this fame factor.
Yep.
Right? So when we do something like this, this is, how do you do this? Now if you understand this, then you can change your mentality. It's all in the mind. What we think of is what you get result. If you see that everybody, just like a Uttamadhikari, a pure devotee, he sees everybody as Krishna's devotee. And he serves anybody, is devotional service. Isn't that right? If you think that I'm going to need only taking prasadam, do you always take prasadam? Is the only thing we take is prasadam? Do we realize that? Do we realize that the air we breathe is also Krishna's prasadam? Isn't that right? But if you don't have that, then it's not. So it's all in the mind, how you train your mind to see things. I always give this example, you get something, to cook, say cauliflower and potato. 3 people are cooking. You're cooking for yourself. That cauliflower, that potato is Krishna's energy. But you're cooking it for yourself. You cook it and eat it. What is it? It's karma. Now you, as a devotee, most of the time, we want to eat something. So we cook it and we offer it to Krishna. What is that? Karma yoga. So you're doing it for yourself, but you're connecting it for Krishna. But then you say, this is a nice cauliflower, Krishna would like it. I think I should cook for him. And then you cook and offer it to Krishna. then it becomes pure devotional service. So the process is same, whatever you are doing the same, the ingredients are same, what has changed is your mentality, how you are perceiving things. So now you know, right, okay, when I'm serving Krishna, I'm serving his devotee, what you have to understand is that you are very fortunate. You are so fortunate that Krishna has given you an opportunity to be around devotees and give him to serve. So that pride goes away. Humility comes. And when there is no humility, when there is pride, what is opposite of pride? Humility. If there's too much pride, then humility leaves. And if there is no humility, then there is no bhakti. Because humility and bhakti are friends. One goes, the other goes. So it's training on. This is why listening to Bhagavatam, reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, listening from devotees speaking, if you take one thing from whatever we have spoken today, just like you're talking about this point, how to avoid being proud. Take it that Krishna has given you an opportunity to serve. It is not by your good quality. It is not whatever you did in your previous life. It is Krishna's mercy. And it's the devotee's mercy they are giving you an opportunity. I always say, it's not always saving a devotee is being saving. Sometimes allowing a devotee to save you is also service. Because the main thing is, this is the trick about whole of devotional service, how to please devotees. Sometimes we worry, hey, please can I have some of your Mahaprasad? People start complaining, But if you give it to somebody, you might get a little bit of their karma or whatever. But just imagine how happy the devotee becomes. And if the devotee becomes happy, then what happens? Krishna becomes happy. And that's the main thing, to please Krishna and his devotees. See, this is my thinking. My thinking is to please the devotees. And I don't know Krishna, but I know I can save his devotees. And if devotees become happy, then Krishna becomes happy. So that is the main thing. So do little things that pleases him. Sometimes we're saving prasadam, and we put extra on the plate. And he has already eaten, he can't eat anymore, So you are trying to save nicely, but is he happy by your service? You know what I'm saying? So you have to think, you always have to see what pleases that particular person. That is the focus. If you want a little bit, give them a little bit.
So if we are serving Krishna, for example, like if we are serving in kitchen or wherever, and some other devotee wants to serve, so if we give up our service for him, we are pleasing the devotee. So
that's the trick.
Yeah.
That's
even if we have to give up our service for that, so that will serve him in a way.
One of the greatest service you can do is to engage others in Krishna's service. And that's what Srila Prabhupada has done. Why is Prabhupada so glorious? Not only on this planet, he's glorious on all the planets. Why? Because he engaged everybody in Krishna's service. In the beginning, you want to do everything. But as you become more mature, you want to engage everybody in Krishna's service. I have this thing in the kitchen. Anybody comes and says, please give me some service, I'll give them. Even though it says, please take this rubbish and put it somewhere. Krishna has put us in charge. Prabhupada, we are expansion of Prabhupada. We are an extension of Prabhupada. Our duty is to engage everybody in Krishna's service. And it doesn't mean, just give them prasadam, Just be nice. They appreciate you, they are appreciating Krishna. Once Srila Prabhupada was walking and somebody said, good morning. And Prabhupada said, that person has made so much advancement just by wishing a devotee good morning. Krishna is in the heart, he can change everything little bit. So we should do what pleases Krishna. What's that? It should be anukulanam. It should be favorable. That is the most important thing. So we should serve Krishna and his devotees, which is very favorable. Yes, Mataji? Any other comments? Any other questions? Yes.
You were saying how Lord Krishna protected the Pandavas and Draupadi. So my question is, I hear in lectures that we're not pure devotees, we're like sadhakas, practicing devotees. So will Krishna still protect us even if we're not pure devotees?
Krishna wants to see your effort. It's not the result, he's after. So if we are sincere, he will protect us. For example, a millionaire comes in here and he takes $100 bill and puts it in there. Okay? And another person, a beggar comes, and he has only 1 rupee, $1, 1 golden coin, and he puts that. Who has done more?
The poor.
The poor person. So it's the effort, what we do. And Krishna, don't forget, Krishna wants us more to get out of this material world than we want to get out of here. Krishna wants us to take us from here like a loving father. So if we make our effort, he will protect us. And I always tell this, I always mention this many times. The pastime of Putna. She wanted to kill Krishna. Isn't that right? But did Krishna see that? What did Krishna see? How she wanted to feed Krishna. See, this is the quality of Srila Prabhupada, if you see. When Srila Prabhupada was in America, he was dealing with people who had all bad qualities. But did Srila Prabhupada focus on those bad qualities? He just took one good quality and he actually tried to encourage in that. Krishna is like that. When we see something bad in a person, what are we seeing? We say that person is so bad, Take a quality, What are we seeing? We are seeing a reflection of ourselves. You only can see what is in you. So a pure devotee of Krishna, he doesn't have any bad qualities. He only sees the good qualities in people. So if we do our best, Krishna will take care of it. And don't worry, you are safe. I have no doubt about that. You keep coming to Bhagavatam class, you chant your rounds, Putna in a previous life, who was she? Bari Maharaja's daughter. Right? See, when she saw Bhamandev was little, he was so cute. And she said, I feel like taking this kid in my arms and breastfeed him. But then when Bhamandev took everything from Bali Maharaj, he said, what kind of kid is, you might as well give him poison, So Krishna fulfilled both the desires. But by her desire to please Krishna, not even pleasing, just she thought about it. What position did she get? She became a mother, a nurse of Krishna. So if Putna can get such an exalted position, why shouldn't we be? This is what we have. The problem is that we do not have faith in the scriptures. That is the problem. If we have faith that Krishna says you chant Krishna's name once, all your sins are destroyed. Isn't that right? Once. How long does it become a pure devotee? It can take many lifetimes or it can take a moment. It is up to us. Does that answer your question? So do not doubt. Krishna will take care of us. We are very, very fortunate, Nityanand is so merciful, Look at Jagai and Madai, 3 times they came. First time they came is before this. Jagai and Madai, they appeared 4 times on this planet. First time they came as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. What happened to them when they died? They merged into body of Krishna. Right? Because that's what you get, Sahajya Mukti. Then they came in Ravana and Kumkarana, same thing. And then Tadakarana and Shishupal. But what did Nityanand give him when they came as the 4th time? Not only Vaikuntha planet, because they were Jaya and Vijay from there. They got Vrindavan, they got Navdeep. So this is whom we are. This is why I'm saying this lifetime, this particular, when this particular time, the 10,000 is the most powerful. The mercy we can get by doing a little bit of service is so much. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any other before we finish? Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Radha Vallabha ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Devi ki jai, Vanchakalpatarubhaischa kripa sindhueva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah.
It's actually for somebody else.
You wear it and then you give it to the person.
Bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It smells so beautiful.
He's blessed, Baba. It's Prabhupada's garment. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhu, wonderful discourse. It was very mentally, very soothing. I have one problem. Can I just talk to you 2 minutes?
Yeah, please.
I cannot sit actually.
Okay.
Because I need
You want me to get up? So
no,
that'll be easier.
no. You please sit, Prabhu.
It'll be easier that way.
totally disturbed because I come from India. I have to go back. I'll be going back on Sunday. You say control mind. So they have started replacing the pipes of the old pipes in my flat, which is causing a problem to me because the top man does not he has started using before it is drying. Now this is going to have a seepage. Earlier, the owner created so much of a problem. And now I've sent a message praying to Krishna. And said, now this sort of problems come which disturbs your mind actually, which is I'm unable to have access to it actually. When you go there, people are very cruel. I try to be humble, but people try to bounce back and show their arrogance and their this way, you are then he said, we are depending on Krishna. I don't know why I am getting so much banging from these people actually. Some
That means Krishna is extra missing.
Matsya. Hare Krishna, Bhaktivedanta, Bhagavatam.
No, not really. I think
Matsya, Matsya.
no. He has more prayer. No, he doesn't have
Yeah. 16. Yeah.
because he has seen other people.